everyone. I'm trying to catch up on Malazan reviews now because I'm currently reviewing book 4 when I finished book 6, not book 8. Book 6, but this is going to be a spoiler review. This isn't going to be light spoilers. I'm not making this at all for someone who has not read up to The House of Chains by Steven Erikson. So if you haven't read it, unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. But let's get into what I thought. So, my expectations for this book were obviously sky high. I'd just come off Memories of Ice, which I thought was better than Dead House Gates, which I thought was better than Gardens of the Moon. Unfortunately for me, this one did break the trend. By no means would I say I disliked this book, but after reading Memories of Ice and Dead House Gates, this was a little bit of a letdown to me, unfortunately. So we are going to go through plot and by plot, because a couple of them I really liked, and then there was a couple that dragged it down. So obviously this book starts in very differently. It starts with Karsa. Apparently someone said like Steven Erikson can't write from one point of view, and he got mad and wrote all Karsa. So all of part 1 is Karsa. At first I was not sold on Karsa, but Karsa grew on me. Karsa started growing on me when he started actually interacting like with humans. Man, the Toblakai culture is weird, where you got like, we're gonna go raid the other place and just try and impregnate all their women, and the women are kind of weirdly okay with the mass raping. Anyway, apparently Icarium set things up there. Terrible. Anyway, but that was kind of weird, but I was okay with that. It's weird, whatever. They're not even humans. And then Karsa really grew on me. And Karsa continued to grow on me. And by the end, Karsa was definitely one of the pros of this book, especially when I enjoyed Karsa more in the not only Karsa parts than I did in the only Karsa part, but the only Karsa part was still pretty damn good. And like, I wouldn't say, again, like the only Karsa part I didn't like as much as I liked part 1 of Memories of Ice, and I was excited to get to non-Karsa stuff, but one part in, I was pretty happy with that. I was like, okay, the Karsa really grew on me, now we can get to the other stuff. I somehow completely forgot to mention the best Karsa part, which is when the crippled god is like, yeah, you're the Knight of Chains now. And he's like, what? No, I'm not. I'm not serving you, you bitch. I'm Karsa. I don't serve anyone. And the crippled god basically acted like someone who like asked someone out and got rejected, and they just continue to act like that person, like they're going out with them now, and the person just has to get like a restraining order and block them out and create all new social media accounts. So basically, I'm fully waiting for Karsa to just block the crippled god, have to get a restraining order because he keeps being annoyed by the crippled god insisting that Karsa is the Knight of Chains. That was very entertaining. And then there was the other side plot. I know Karsa wasn't really a side plot, but the one that definitely was a side plot, and my favorite part of this book, was Ornak and all of his point of views. I love the Tilon and Moss in general. I find them both interesting, compelling, and funny. And we got Troll Sengar, who I also just absolutely love. So all the stuff with Ornak going like into the warring. Oops, I accidentally reduced some Hounds of Darkness. I'm sure that won't come back to bite anyone in the ass later. And going around, then going, defending thrones and all this stuff, and becoming like split from the other Tilon and Moss, and meeting Troll and Ornak, and Troll's kind of loyalty to each other growing was all great. And also kind of the interactions with the Tisti Leo-san. There's like a 1% chance I said that right. So I would say that plot was the other part of the book that I really liked. What really dragged this book down for me was Rakuru. Especially the scheming in Rakuru, in that I just found, like, the main people scheming, you had Bithadol or whatever, you had the guy whose name I can't even remember, the person who sucks at watching the sunset, the person who, like, watches the sunset every morning but is facing the wrong direction for years, and he's selfish and scheming. That's his character. And obviously, I'm really bad at remembering names. I promise I know who the characters are, I just don't remember the names. Anyways, you had the main people scheming around. I like Lorik. Lorik's a good... I enjoy Lorik's characters. But the other people scheming in Rakuru, and really just most of the things in Rakuru, I couldn't care. I was just reading to get to the next stuff. The conclusion of that was obviously one reason I like Karsa is he just kills the characters I don't like. Just take the characters I don't care about and you just put them in the same room as Karsa and good things happen. Which, when that happened, on one hand, I was like, okay, so all that stuff I didn't care about really didn't have a payoff. Great. No wonder they weren't that interesting characters. They were only in one book, so... Anyway. But on the other hand, I don't have to read about them anymore because Karsa killed them. So, that was kind of 50-50. I remember about sometime in the last part, not in the last part, part 3, I was like, am I just kind of burnt out on Steven Erikson's writing style? And then we actually got an actual Felicen chapter, and I was like, no, this is great. I just don't care about any of these characters specifically. So, yeah, I really slogged through the Rakuru stuff. It was just not that interesting to me. Like, the characters involved, like, there were a few good ones. Heberic is great. Lorik and Felicen. The other, like, schemers, it's like they're all selfish and scheming and trying to take down Shaik. Let's give them all a quirk. This guy obviously has the dog slayers and rapes people. This person's also a rapist, but a child rapist and a cult, so he's even worse. And this guy sucks at watching the sunset. And then they die. Cool, I guess. I don't know. And then the other part of the book that felt a bit disappointing to me was the dollar store chain of the dogs. Like, it's not an uninteresting military campaign. I just don't know if, like, this is a 1,000-page book, and the first half of that military campaign is walking badly. They're marching badly for about hundreds of pages before even the raiding starts, and then, like, they get there and they win. And yeah, the ending, like, the way they won was cool, and obviously it was really sad when Tavor killed Felicen, but getting there was a bit of a slog. And, like, yeah, there were some character-like relation stuff that I enjoyed, but, like, it wasn't bad, but it's just, I think of this in my head, and I compare it to the military campaigns we had in Memory of Ice against the Panyan Domain and the Chain of the Dogs, and it's like, I would say those are, like, S-tier military campaigns, and this is like a C+ or a B. And that kind of made the book drag a little bit for me. So, I still did like this more than Gardens of the Moon, because characterization-wise, I think it's just better. All the stuff with Ornak Control was great. Karsa's fantastic. Oh, yeah, and the Mappo and Icarium stuff. I mean, they only had cameos in this book, but I love me some Mappo and Icarium. That stuff was great as well. And the last, like, 100 pages of the Rakuru, like the actual, like, the convergence, was also really good. I guess there was a Kalem plot I completely forgot to talk about. Huh. Yeah, he did stuff. Yeah. He's been kind of one of the characters I'm a little bit meh on. It's funny because he is one of the most point of views. Like, he gets point of views. He's one of the only characters who gets a significant amount of point of view chapters in Dead House Gates and House of Chains, and he plays a role in Gardens of the Moon. He even gets point of views in Gardens of the Moon. He has point of views in 3 books. Perrin's gotten of the first 4 books, did anyone else get 3 point of views? I don't think so. Is that right? Quick Ben, maybe? No, he didn't get any in Dead House Gates or House of Chains. I think Calem's the only character who had point of views in 3 of the first 4 books, which is a strange choice to me. He's not like I don't think he's a badly written character. He's just not that interesting to me compared to some of the others. So anyway, obviously this was a very different format from my normal review because presumably everyone here has read the book, so I don't need to tell you like whether I think you would enjoy it or not because you've already read it. But unfortunately this was a bit of a letdown for me, so I will move on. I'm probably just going to record the 2 books after this. They weren't letdowns. This was kind of the blip in the radar, down to a 6.6 out of 10. Which is that it's solid, but it had some things that really dragged down for me. So anyway, I'm gonna be recording some Malazan reviews back to back. I'm gonna be trying to get out all 3 of these spoiler reviews pretty quickly. I can almost guarantee the Midnight Tides one will be the longest. So anyway, that's all I got. I know I've seen, among other Malazan fans, I have seen a lot of people who have this lower on their ranking. I also see some people who have have it as their favorite. I guess if you really like the 14th, I can see that. I like Bottle. I like some of the characters in the 14th. I don't think they're like any of the characters I like the most. But yeah, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments, and I'm gonna go talk about the Malazan book I liked way more in Midnight Tides.